In today's sci-fi world, directors, writers, and producers take a crazy amount of time to make sure that every single detail is representing someone or something. If you've ever watched a breakdown video of the Easter eggs from the recent Star Wars trilogy or any of the Marvel TV shows and movies, you'll see that every number on a door or a helmet, a street name, has some sort of meaning behind it. Hasbro has started to catch up to this idea by incorporating RPM into Beast Morphers, Hartford Robotics, and having the Morphin Masters involved. But back when I was a kid, Saban and his staff usually went about things with the idea of, it's a kid's show, they're not going to notice. Now, these plot holes are viewed to some people as major mistakes, but to people like me, it's an opportunity to find ways to make this universe connect. Sloppy writing brought us a lot of great questions like, how did Jason, Tommy, and TJ get their powers for Forever Red? How did other Rangers obtain their powers later on for the legendary battle? How did Tommy obtain the Master Morpher? And how were the Turbo Rangers present at the legendary battle if Tommy and TJ were both morphed into other Rangers? And one of the fandom's most asked questions, why did the turbo powers exist at all? Well, I believe I've uncovered the answer to all these questions, and in the process I 100% believe that Zordon is in fact completely evil. Hey guys, my name's Casey. I'm a huge Power Ranger fan. Cannot tell you how grateful I am. This channel has grown extremely fast in the last couple weeks. I just want to thank everybody who's commenting and asking questions and wanting to see other videos. I'm really excited to try to bring you guys more of that, so just stay with me. But only a small percentage of you are actually subscribed. I don't know if that's really true. That's just what every single person says to say, and that's what I'm saying right now, so that you guys will subscribe so that I can get more followers, because my life depends on the lifeblood of subscribers, okay? So why don't you just subscribe so we can stop arguing about it, okay? Hey, thank you Stephen King for your comment on the Beetleborgs video. That's what really inspired me to start looking into all these questions, and then I really expanded into this whole turbo thing, so thank you so much. Let's start with the original Red Ranger Jason, but first let's look at Kimberly's transfer of power to Kat. When Kimberly hands the coin over, she was released from her connection to the Pink Ranger powers. It is said that she still has a connection to the morphing grid, but can't morph. Yes, they are adults playing teenagers, but this whole
Zordon, I asked Alpha and Kat to be ready, just in case you guys got me to change my mind.
Dude, that's some serious teenage girl crap right there. Oh, I didn't want to, but oh, do you want me to? I don't know. Don't pretend like you're gonna stay when you have everything lined up to leave Kimberly, okay? Anyway. But this is very different than the transfer of power from Jason, Zach, and Trini to Rocky, Adam, and Aisha. They used the Sword of Light. The Sword of Light was kept by Zordon, so why didn't they do the same thing for Kimberly? The comics use the Sword of Light to restore Rangers' powers, but I believe that the Sword of Light doesn't transfer powers at all, it copies them. Of course, the reason that Jason, Zach, and Trini never demorph is because the actors were gone at this point. But once again, this detail has to be explained, or else there's no reason for this channel to exist. It is visible that both sets of Rangers have power coins and morphers on their belts. I believe that Jason, Zach, and Trini have fully functioning morphers and power coins. In fact, they still have the originals. But they take on the Omega Ranger forms because being morphed as the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers would have caused a weakness for their predecessors. Once the other Rangers' power coins were destroyed, the original Rangers would have been free to morph back into the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. But now they wouldn't cause a rift in the morphing grid. Some people ask how Tommy got his Zeo powers back, but this is very easy. He never actually lost them. The Turbo movie did have scenes planned and some filmed that would have made an explanation for how the Zeo powers were lost, but they were cut from the movie, which is a good thing because the idea in the movie was that the Zeo powers failed because they came in contact with water. The Zeo powers are supposed to get stronger as time goes on. In theory, these powers should never ever be destroyed because they are in a way invincible. So Tommy, along with the rest of the Zeo team, all still have access to their Zeo powers. Jumping to the legendary battle, you see that Tommy is in his iconic green suit. But there is a shot with Zeo Ranger 5 Red fighting in the background. Did Tommy use his Master Morpher at this time to switch back and forth? I don't believe he did. In Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 3, Return of the Green Ranger, Parts 1 through 3, Rita and Zed call on the Wizard of Deception. The Wizard clones Tommy Oliver, creating an evil copy of him referred to as Tom Oliver. Throughout the set of 3 episodes, Tommy breaks the Wizard's spell and Tom becomes good. There's some time traveling involved in this one, and Tom decides to stay in the past and help the people of that time. I'm really surprised that this has never been referenced again by the show. There are theories that Tommy in Power Rangers Dino Thunder is indeed Tom Oliver, but there is nothing confirmed. I don't believe he is because Tommy morphs into all his forms in the Ninja Steel Anniversary episode. If that fan theory was true, Tom would only have the green and black powers, and Tommy would have green, white, red, and red. Since the legendary battle had to involve dimensional travel with RPM and time travel a la Time Force being involved, plus the legendary Rangers, which I have a whole video on if you want to check that out, it's safe to say that Tom and Tommy were both present for this fight. Tom being the one leading the veteran Rangers, and Tommy morphed as Zeo Red. The Master Morpher, I believe, is a result of the Hexagon theory. I won't go into a lot of detail because I covered this in the Legendary Rangers Never on Earth Squadron Rangers fan theory. I gotta cut these video names down a little bit. But I believe that Miss Fairweather, along with some other genius minds in the Saban live-action universe, restored these powers. It shows that his Zeo coin has a red crystal material making up the star. This is believed to be fragments of the Zeo crystal itself. The Hexagon organization figured out a way to make the Master Morpher and restore the pink and blue Mighty Morphin powers. How did TJ get his powers back for Forever Red? They were destroyed by Divatox. Now this in itself is surprising. Divatox and her crew proved to be a pretty incompetent group of villains. Although having some seriously solid comedic moments in the show, a large majority of her plans were leaving a bomb somewhere in Angel Grove, set to a timer for who knows how long. It really made no sense why she didn't just blow something up right away or put 2 minutes on the timer. The Rangers always had plenty of time to find the bomb and defuse it. So honestly, it's a mystery to me how she pulled off defeating the Rangers. I believe that she had some help from Zordon. But first, let's figure out how TJ got his powers back. In the episode True Blue to the Rescue from Power Rangers in Space, Stormblaster escapes from Divatox's henchmen and makes their way to Earth to find Justin. Once together, Stormblaster opens his glove compartment, and there is a fully functioning blue Turbo Morpher inside. Justin, of course, saves the Rangers as the blue Turbo Ranger once again, but they never explain how Stormblaster got this Morpher. I believe that Stormblaster and Lightning Cruiser had been sent on a mission to restore the Turbo Rangers' powers, which is why they were in space. They were captured after leaving the Robot Rangers. The 30th episode of Power Rangers Turbo, the Robot Rangers, shows a team of cyborg Rangers, which are copies of the Turbo Rangers created by Zordon and Alpha 5. Demetrius states that no one can replace the Rangers, but perhaps someday they can assist in the fight against evil. So it seems like these Robot Rangers aren't completely intended to fight right now. Their absence in the battle during Countdown to Destruction seemed to prove they weren't ready or Zordon didn't command them to fight, but they are told they are needed on planet Eltar. Now, Steel from Beast Morphers and Mac from Operation Overdrive prove that the Morphin Grid can indeed connect with the robot to morph, so the Robot Rangers are definitely connected to the actual Morphing Grid. But as we saw in Trent's storyline in Dino Thunder, two people accessing the same Ranger form will weaken each other, causing a rift in the Morphing Grid unless one is destroyed or stops. Zordon should have known this, so once again we are jumping into the fan theory that Zordon is indeed evil. I believe that Demetria is under the assumption that these Rangers are intended to protect Altar. But Zordon's plans are very simple. Much like the Princess of Evil using the Psycho Rangers to drain Dark Spectre's powers, Zordon does the same to the Turbo Rangers, slowly weakening the new Rangers, leaving the Earth defenseless. And if Hexagon was starting to form during this time, Tommy and the other veteran Rangers might have been out in space, unable to help defend the Earth. This is honestly the most believable evidence I've seen of Zordon being evil. Yes, he withholds information and seems to take advantage of teenagers, but when the first set of Turbo Rangers decided to pass on their powers, Zordon had been on Eltar. Zordon no longer had a team he could control. Up to that point, he could call on Tommy, Adam, Tanya, Kat, and Rocky to do his bidding, but now these Rangers had no loyalty to him. When the time came for Zordon to put his plan into action to take over the galaxy, TJ, Cassie, Carlos, Ashley, and Justin would have seen through his fake reasonings for doing so. He saw this as a loss and decided to just eliminate the Turbo Rangers and start over, calling on his former protege Gosei to make a new team of Rangers he could control. But things moved really fast. When Divatox defeated the weakened Turbo Rangers, Dark Spectre captured Zordon. Zordon didn't have time to destroy the Robot Rangers, which would have eliminated the Turbo powers forever, or reprogramming them to be his own evil Ranger force. He wasn't able to signal Gosei either. With his plan being foiled, this leaves Demetria to be the one to decide the Robot Rangers' fate. Because the Robot Rangers still have access to the Turbo powers, she sends Stormblaster and Lightning Cruiser to find the Robot Rangers and make a copy of the Turbo powers. One of those copies was with Stormblaster, the rest of them are with Lightning Cruiser. TJ and the rest of the Rangers receive the Turbo powers when saving Lightning Cruiser. This explains how TJ has his powers back, but also would explain why the 4 Earth-native Space Rangers have to go retrieve their morphers during the episode To the 10th Power. They weren't worried about having their space morphers since they already had their Turbo ones. You might ask, why didn't they morph to Turbo then in the episode? Because Andros was there, man, and when your space buddy is there, you gotta match. And if you're asking how they got to the Astro Megaship to get the morphers, TJ and Lightning Cruiser are together in Forever Red. I believe Lightning Cruiser stays with TJ full-time now, disguised as his 1990s red Camaro. I used to have that same car in high school, and I didn't realize it was the same car until years later. So sad. Ugh, so much wasted potential. This is why TJ could morph in Forever Red, and explains the mystery Turbo team during the legendary battle. The Robot Rangers finally got to assist in the fight against evil. Wish they had made a bigger deal about this iconic moment for the Robot Rangers, but hey, Super Megaforce didn't exactly give any veteran Rangers their due during that episode. If someone had just done their research, they would have had 2 Blue Turbo Rangers so that the real Justin Stewart could have fought in the battle as well. Although their powers would have been weakened, so maybe it was better just one of them did it. And if you're asking, why did Zordon ever make the Turbo powers? If he is indeed evil, then it makes perfect sense why he's trying to make more Power Rangers. He is experimenting with tapping into the morphing grid, hoping to make an army of Rangers. Remember that the Rangers' powers have come from power coins that were not made by Zordon. When they lost their powers, Zordon couldn't fix them. They had to go to Ninjor for help. The Zeo crystals were not made by Zordon either. They were already in existence. All this time, Zordon has been waiting and researching how to make his own Rangers. After getting the Zeo crystals, he used the data from the original power coins, Ninjor's coins, and the Zeo crystals to make the Turbo Rangers. He never explains why the Rangers need to use the Turbo powers, but it's most likely because he wants to test them out. Once he feels the powers will hold up, he goes back to Eltar to try to raise an army of Rangers. Tell me, did I convince you that Zordon is 100% evil, or are you still not convinced? Thank you guys for watching. Stay well. Subscribe. And I'll see you later. Have a good one. Bye. Oh, dang it. I hit the mic. Bye.